YouTube, guys, gals, my name is Cushy Kush, aka Eric, and this is going to be a video on Dragon Lakes. Let's jump into it. This is the list I've been cooking up. I have to say, I'm a very big fan of dragons. I've been loving dragons ever since the Dragon Rulers came out. Actually, and since Red Eyes came out, I loved Red Eyes. I thought it was cool. This deck kind of hits that itch where I get to play dragons, but there is a problem. This deck is really spammy. It's almost like you're playing solitaire against yourself. Your turns usually take between 1 to 2 minutes because it's a lot of special summoning and a lot of comboing. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. This deck is actually one of the best decks right now, I think, in Master Duel. If we look at Master Duel meta, which is a resource that Yu-Gi-Oh players sometimes use, now it's not definitive, it's not the best resource, but it does show you that Dragon Lynx is up here at tier 3. It's not bad at all. And actually, it has a really good matchup against some of the top decks, such as Sprite and Tearlaments, mainly from Bystials. The most important card in this deck is probably Bystial Lubellion. This card is really big, important when it's in your hand. You can discard it, add any of the Bystials, which essentially are like DD-like Crow effect, where you can banish a light or a dark in either player's graveyard, and if your opponent controls a monster, it's a quick effect. It's extremely powerful because just being able to disrupt something from your opponent's graveyard, disrupt means being able to get rid of it, can stop them from, I don't know, maybe using Monster Reborn or some card effect where they need that card in their graveyard. Besides that, Bystial Lubellion also has the effect that when it's in the graveyard, you contribute a level 6 or higher Dark Dragon and just special summon it. And all the Bystial Lubellions, they have the same attack stat, 2500 attack, 2000 defense, and they're all level 6, so they synergize perfectly with this one card. But that's not it. When this card is on the field, you can just search your deck for a branded continuous spell or trap, and they're good. And you can just place it face up on the field. The ones that we're running in this deck specifically are Branded Beast. It's the continuous trap, it's only a rare, and we run 2 of it. The main reason we run this is because of the first part of this effect. Once per turn during the main phase, if you control Bystial monster, you contribute a dragon monster, destroy a card your opponent controls. This is amazing because it's a trap, which means that you can use it during your opponent's main phase, which means that if your opponent is doing like a big play, whenever you want, destroy one of their cards. Very cool stuff. We run 2. The best part about this card, it's not a hard once per turn. Although it does say you can only use this effect of Branded Beast once per turn, that only applies to during the end phase. You can set one from your graveyard or replace one face up. You can use the once per turn destroy during the main phase. If you have 2 of these, you can use it twice. That is powerful. They don't really print cards like that anymore because they're just so good and they get abused. That's why we're running 2 copies. And the other one is Branded Regained. This is probably the best spell in the entire deck. I've been tempted to run it at 3. I think I like it at 2. You might see some lists out there running at 1. I think 2 is perfect. Essentially, if a light or a dark is banished, whether it be yours or your opponent's, you can put it back on the bottom of the deck, draw a card. So you get like a bunch of free draws, whether it's during your opponent's turn, during your turn. But the main reason I do like this a lot is because if your opponent normal or special summons, you can special summon a Bystial monster from your graveyard. Now that might not seem really good, but if you have 2 of this spell, and it's not a hard once per turn, mind you, it just says once per chain. So if you have 2 of these and your opponent normal summons once, you can special summon a Bystial from your graveyard, and then if they normal summon or special summon again, which is pretty likely to happen, you can special summon another Bystial from your graveyard. The best Bystial I think that synergizes with Branded Regained, besides Bystial Lubellion, which is the best one in the entire deck, is Bystial Saronir, or whatever you pronounce it. Essentially, when it's sent to the graveyard, you can send any Bystial monster or spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard. We run 3 of it. The main reason we run 3 is because we have a very powerful card in our extra deck, which I will go over next. Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. This card essentially says, when it's synchro summoned, activate the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 light or dark monster that was activated to your hand, and then the rest just go to the graveyard. It essentially just mills 4 cards and you get to add 1. Unless you get unlucky, then it just mills 5. And if this card is milled, essentially milling means when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to send a Bystial spell or trap. Now, before we talk about card for card, now that we finished talking about the most important cards, the final most important card I would mention is Quick Launch. This essentially is a spell card that says, hey, special summon a level 4 Tuner Dragon from your deck. That's literally all this is. Also, it's not a hard once per turn, so if you have 2 or 3 in your hand, you can play all 2 or 3 during the same turn. I've done it before where I played 2 during the same turn, and there's actually cool combos where you can do where the monster you special summon has a quick effect where you can destroy face-up card, and then once you play the second one, you can destroy that second spell, and then special summon a monster. If this all sounds confusing, I'm sorry, but it gets a little bit confusing. When I said that this deck is like Solitaire, I wasn't kidding. This deck is hardcore combos. Now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to be talking about, is this deck worth it? Should you build it? I think if you really do like Chaos Dragons or Link Dragons or Bystial Dragons, yeah, this deck is worth it. This deck is insanely powerful. I think it's actually like tier 2 or 1, like potentially. Because right now in the OCG, which is the Japanese card game, the original card game, this is one of the most popular decks right now at the meta. So this deck has a lot of potential, but it also has potential to get banned. Do I think that's going to happen? Well, if there's one card that's going to get banned, probably Chaos Ruler. It's already been banned in the TCG, so it might follow suit. But besides that, I can't really predict anything. I don't know. The deck right now is really fun. Let me talk about the main engines in this deck. So we mainly already talked about the Bystials. The Bystials are a powerful hand trap engine where you can just banish stuff from the graveyard, yada yada, really cool. They also have good spell and traps where you can just special summon from your graveyard again, or you can destroy a card during your opponent's turn. Very cool stuff. Now let's talk about the Rockets, because the Rockets is another side of this deck. The Rockets are essentially the main way you go into your synchros. You could go into links because they help you go into your link combos because you can just spam the board. But mainly you're just going into your synchros with the Rocket. We got Rokket Tracer, who's really important. You just destroy face-up card, special summon a Rocket. Quick effect, you can do it during your opponent's turn. You can do it during your turn. You can activate a spell card, a trap card. It doesn't really matter. You can destroy that card. Special summon something from your deck. Really cool. We only run one Rokket Recharger. This is the other level 4. It's a non-tuner, so if you special summon it, you can easily go into a Synchro 8. And besides that, we run one Rokket Synchron. Now you might be wondering, man, why do you run so little Rockets? Well, we have this Bystial card, which essentially says, hey, if a monster light or dark is banished, put it in the bottom of your deck. And sometimes you have these two cards in your graveyard, and you can just shuffle one back into your deck. I mean, now you have more Rockets again, and you don't have to be playing more. So there's a lot of ways you can synergize. And with all that out of the way, let's talk about card for card. Rokket Synchron, it's a level 1 tuner. When it's in your hand and you normal summon it, you can target a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon in your graveyard, special summon it. The best targets you could target are Bystials. I mean, they're level 6, and then you can easily go into a Synchro 7, which is Cyberse Quantum Dragon. That's the one I'm running. You may choose to run something else, but if you do, it should be a Dharc. And there's another card you could special summon from your graveyard, Chaos Ruler, because you're usually going into Chaos Ruler anyways, so you special summon Chaos Ruler back from your graveyard, and then you go into this big dude called Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, which is Omni Negate. Your opponent activates a spell or trap or monster effect you don't like, well, target it, negate its effects. Also, it's once per turn, so you can do that during either player's turn, and if it inflicts battle damage, special summon a tuner from your graveyard. It has good attack too, it's a 3200. So yeah, I'm kind of liking that. Besides that, we have 3 copies of Maxx, most powerful card in the entire game. 3 copies of Ash Blossom. I think it's pretty good. The main reason I like it is because it can stop Maxx. So we're running it. It can stop other things too, but just being able to stop an opponent's Maxx, and especially since this deck just combos extremely heavy, helps a lot. We have 2 copies of White Dragon Wyverburster. This card is pretty simple, not the best in the world, but it is very powerful. Banish a dark monster in your graveyard, special summon this. It's just a level 4 with 1700 attack and 1800 defense. Doesn't do anything on the field, but when it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Black Dragon Collapserpent, and that is this one. Essentially, it's kind of like the same exact thing. Banish a light in your graveyard. This one's banish a dark, this one's banish a light, so they both work really well together. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you just add the opposite color. The main reason we're running 2 and 1 rather than like 3-3 or 1-1 is because we have a card called Branded Regained, which is if a light or dark is banished, put it at the bottom of the deck. Also, we have another card called Chaos Space, which works really well with these cards. Essentially, if it's in your graveyard, you can target either one of these that's banished and then just put it back in your deck and you draw a card. So yeah, I think 2-1 is pretty good. You could also consider running 3 White Dragon Wyverburster, but I think I don't like opening up more than like 2, and it's happened multiple times where I've had like 2 in my hand. It feels terrible. So I like running it at 2-1 because it's there if you need it. It's searchable with Chaos Space, and I mean, it does come up a little bit, but it's not the main point of the deck. The main point of the deck is the Rockets. The Rockets are really good. They're normal summonable, they're special summonable from the deck. You can even special summon them from your hand using Boot Sector Launch. You can special summon from the graveyard as well using Boot Sector Launch. They're just always active, and I love that. This one specifically is you can destroy face-up card, special summon a Rocket from your deck. Quick effect, so you can even chain it to a spell. The next one is Rokket Recharger. If a dark monster you control was destroyed that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard and then special summon one of those monsters. It's not the best effect in the world. It's pretty decent. It kind of has like a hand effect. The main reason I'm running it is because I think it's one of the best level 4 rockets. Now you may be thinking, wait, what do you mean the best? There's also Silver Rokket, which is cool. There's Metal Rokket, and there's these other rockets. Yeah, those are cool. Rokket Recharger kind of gives you a little bit of like protection in terms of hand traps. The other ones have effects like when they're targeted from a link, you can do something. And I mean, that's cool, but when are they ever going to be targeted from a link? It's very sus, if you ask me. And I don't like sus. I like competitive and I like consistent. So we're going to be going on to the next card, Starliege. Starliege essentially has the effect where you can send a dragon from your hand or on the field, including this card, add another dragon from your deck to your hand. The main one I like searching out is Bystial Lubellion because it gets my plays going. You could also just send like this guy from your hand and search out another Bystial, which is amazing because then you get the send effect. You can also search out Guardragon Buster and then Dragon Buster. You can cut this card down to 2 if you really wanted to. I think I like it at 3 because it just increases the consistency of the deck. Also has a graveyard effect. A lot of these cards you might notice have graveyard effects. This one says, banish it from your graveyard, add 1 level 8 light or dark dragon from your graveyard to your hand. Bystial Lubellion's the best one. You could just add it back to your hand and then discard it and then add another blah 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 and then do your plays. Next up we have Bystial Magnamhut. You can only run one. You should run one. It's mandatory. It's one of the best dragons in the entire deck. Not necessarily the best dragon, but it has a really good effect. When it's special summoned, whether it's special summoned from your hand or it's special summoned from the graveyard from Branded Regained, you can activate this effect. During the end phase, add any dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand. I like the graveyard part because sometimes you want to reuse your resources, and then this card just lets you do that during your opponent's turn, during your turn. Cool stuff. This card essentially is just when it's sent to the graveyard, send a Bystial. You can send a trap, you can send a spell. The cool thing about the trap too is that if it's already face up, like if you search it out with Bystial Lubellion, during the end phase, you can target a spell or trap that's already in your graveyard that says branded and just place it face up. That is powerful. So this card essentially gets you like multiple cards, which I really do like. Next one is Bystial Druiswurm. It's just removal. If it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target a special summon a monster, send it to the graveyard. I like it a lot. It comes up a lot too when you chain it with the trap. So the trap gets a destroy card, this gets a send a card, you get to send 2 cards. And the last Bystial is Bystial Drake. Bystial Drake has the effect where if your opponent special summons a Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, or Link monster, you can tribute another light or dark monster and banish it. Doesn't negate its effects, doesn't negate the summon, the monster's effect or summon still goes through, it just banishes it. So it's really cool, it's a little bit of removal. I've been testing running this card at 3 and cutting down the one that sends down to like 1. I think I like this guy a little bit more just because he increases the consistency a little bit more, excuse me. Then we have Bystial Lubellion, really good in your hand. Discard it, add a Bystial when it's in the graveyard, special summon it. When it's on the field, search one of your spell or traps. Really good. Chaos Space, essentially this card says, hey, send a light or dark from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can add a Black Dragon Collapserpent, or you can add a Bystial Lubellion. And I mean, those are bad options. Those really are not bad options. Plus it has a graveyard effect where you can just shuffle back this, or this, and you can draw a card. So you get recursion of effects, which is really nice. 1 Boot Sector Launch. Boot Sector Launch is searchable with 1 card in the extra deck. It's super easy to make. Striker Dragon. It just says 1 level 4 lower dragon monster. When this card is link summon, you can search out Blue Sector Launch. Blue Sector Launch is only run in the deck because it synergizes really well with the rockets. You can special summon up to 2 rockets with different names from your hand. So you can special summon this rocket and this rocket from your hand. So just in case you already used up your normal summon, you can just go like, oh, okay, I'm going to search up Boot Sector Launch. I'm going to special summon this Tuner from my hand, and I'm going to go into even more plays. Or I think the effect I like more, but I don't use it as much because it's kind of tricky to like be able to work with it, is if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon rockets with different names from your graveyard up to the difference. So if you control 1 monster, your opponent controls 3, you can special summon 2 rockets from your graveyard. That is powerful because that's free. That's not coming out of your hand. That's coming out of your graveyard. It's just free resources. Besides that, we have Branded Regained. It's very important as well. I think it's one of the most important ones. I'm tempted to run it at 3, but the deck is really tight already. Light or Dark is banished, whether it be you or your opponents. Put it back in the bottom of the deck, draw a card. Also, if your opponent normal special summons, you can target a Bystial in your graveyard, special summon it. 3 Quick Launch. The main target you want to special summon from your deck with Quick Launch is Rokket Tracer. just because Rokket Tracer gets you so much advantage. You pop a card, you special summon a monster, you go into your Chaos Ruler. You can even go into Borreload Savage, which is an Omni negate like any card your opponent activates. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool card. It's just a free monster and it's in a spell. We got Called by the Grave. This is mainly to negate Maxx. Maxx is a big problem. Very big problem. This deck special summons a lot. So just being able to have another way to stop Maxx besides Ash Blossom is a welcome addition. Infinite Impermanence. Essentially, if you control nothing, you can activate it from your hand, negate an opponent's monster effect. Not really strong, but just being able to negate an opponent's monster effect might be able to slow down their plays and give you enough time to just completely dominate, which is extremely easy with this deck. And the final one, Branded Beast, just during the main phase, during your opponent's, during yours, as long as this card's face up, tribute a dragon monster if you control Bystial, destroy a card your opponent controls. Cool stuff. Looking at the extra deck, we got Dark Dimension Soldier. Do you need to run this? No. The main reason I run this is because we have a level 1 tuner, Rokket Synchron, and we do have level 4s, including the White Dragon Collapserpent bundle. And this card essentially has the effect where you can banish a card in your hand, target one of your banished dark monsters, special summon that monster in face up or face down defense. Usually in face up so you can continue your plays. And then during the end phase, inflict 100 damage. Nobody cares about the last part. That last part sucks. We're just running this card so we can special summon a dark monster that's been banished back on the field, and maybe we can end on like a Link monster or something. Just use this guy's material. Besides that, we got Cyberse Quantum Dragon. I really like this card. I think this card's heavily underrated. I think it's one of the most powerful Synchro 7s in the entire game. Essentially, if you control a Link monster, your opponent cannot target a Link monster for card effects or attacks, which is really cool. They have to target this guy instead. And when this guy battles, you can just return the opponent's monster to the hand, and then this guy can attack again. Really cool card because it just like protects your links a little bit, but not only that, it also just like goes in hard for damage. You attack once, bounce in the hand, attack again. It's cool. I like it. We have Borreload Savage Dragon. I rarely ever make this guy, but I mean, he's just good. He's just an Omni negate. Your opponent activates spell, trap, monster effect, negate by removing a counter, but you need a link in your graveyard to attach to this guy. That's the only problem. Besides that, Chaos Ruler. The most important one, that's why we're running 2, surprisingly. It's because when we go into this guy, we mill 5, and we have so many good cards we can mill. We can mill Bystial Lubellion, we have Bystial Saronir, we have the Branded Beast, Branded Regained, we have Chaos Space, we also have Starliege. There's a lot of really good cards we can mill. Even if we mill the Rockets, and we didn't mill the field spell, we can just get the field spell, special summon the Rockets. There's a lot of things we can do. Also, it can special summon itself back from the graveyard, Chaos Ruler, just by banishing a light or dark. So it's incredible. It's an incredibly powerful card. If there is one card that I would take out for the second Chaos Ruler, so let's say you don't own 2 Chaos Rulers, I would add a rank 8. The main reason I say rank 8 is because there's many times where I have Bystial Lubellion and Chaos Ruler on the field, and I'm like, man, I really wish I had a rank 8, an XYZ 8, like the zombie vampire, which is kind of cool. It lets you mill some more things, but the main one I would like to make is called Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, which essentially just says, hey, your opponent activates a spell card? Nah, negate it and attach it to this card. So a rank 8 is definitely something I would add if you like don't have the second Chaos Ruler, but Chaos Ruler is really important, so I'm running it like that. Next up, we have Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. The only way you could possibly ever make this guy is with using Chaos Ruler on the field and Rokket Synchron. You can go into Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. Next up, we have a Synchro 10, and surprisingly, Synchro 10s are pretty easy to make because the Bystials are level 5 and Rokket Tracer is level 4 tuner. So you can go into Baronne de Fleur, which is like what the best level Synchro 10 in the entire game. Let's be honest. Destroy a card on the field once per turn during your turn, and then you can negate anything, but that's only once. Also, you can just return it back to the extra deck, special summon a level 9 or lower from your graveyard. Cool card. Next up, we got Psychic and Punisher. This card is possible to make. There have been opportunities where I'm like, man, I wish I had this card in the extra deck, and I didn't, and if I did, I would have won the game. So I decided to throw it in. Do I make it all the time? No. But it's there as an option. I think it's a good option. It's the best Synchro 11 in the entire game. Unaffected by opponent's card effects as long as you have less life points in your opponent. Also, pay 1,000 life points, target one monster you control, one card your opponent controls, banish them. Wowee. Really cool. Also, during his start of battle phase, gains attack equals to the difference of your opponent's life points. So he gets really, really big, and he's unaffected, and he's cool. I like him. Next up, let's talk about the links. Guardragon Pisty. Do you need this card? Yeah, I would say you do. There's a combo where you do Guardragon Pisty, you do Striker Dragon, both the arrows point in the middle of like, I don't know, Hectic Seal or Dharc, the Dark Charmer, because they have 2 arrows pointing left and right, and you essentially special summon a monster from your graveyard or that's banished using Guardragon Pisty. Next up, Striker Dragon. Very, very, very important, just because Boot Sector Launch is a good card. Do I go into it a lot? No, I've been finding that this Link Dragon deck doesn't really need to go into links. Links are just there as a bonus. It's mainly going into synchros, because the synchros are amazing. And if it's not going into synchros, it's not going into anything at all. Just because the main deck monsters, the Bystials, dominate. They are so good. And then you have the trap where you can just pop cards. So you don't really need to be going into Striker Dragon that much. In fact, you can probably cut Striker Dragon down to 1. I'm going to keep it at 2, just because I think it's a very important card. Next up, we have Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spears. This is essentially, if it's an extra monster zone, you contribute it, bounce a card to your opponent controls, and then special summon a dragon from your deck. But it's attack and defense for 0. It's cool. I'd never really make it, but it's there as an option. Next up, we have Dharc the Dark Charmer. I kind of make this guy a lot, surprisingly. I make Link 2s a lot in this deck. And this is like the most generic and best one that I can make. Essentially, it's if your opponent has a dark monster in their graveyard, special summon it to where the arrow points to, left or right. If this card is sent to the graveyard from a card effect or by battle from an opponent, you can add a dark monster with 1,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. I mean, rockets? So you do have options. And then we have one Borreload Dragon. I run this guy because I think he's cool. He can steal an opponent's monster. The stealing part is really useful because it says at the start of the damage step, if his card attacks an opponent's monster, place it to where a zone this points to. So left to right or bottom left, bottom right. Stealing gets over a lot of effects, and I like that a lot. And this is the big boss monster. If we can make this guy, we will. Just because, I mean, let's read it. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Wow. Also, neither player can target this card with monster effects. Wow. This card can attack all monsters your opponent control once each. Holy crap. And then quick effect. Target an effect monster on the field and a rocket in your graveyard. Negate the effect monsters on the field and special summon a rocket from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot respond to this. So, and that's a quick effect, so you can do it during your opponent's turn too. It's like pretty much indestructible. I mean, yeah, there's ways to get rid of it, but it's almost like indestructible. It's really hard. It gets a monster back from your graveyard and negates some opponent's monster effect. I mean, look at him. He's big. He's big. He's a threat, and he gets you a lot of stuff. I like it a lot. Anyways, I've been talking for a lot. I have 2 replays I want to show off, and let's get cooking. All right, here we go. Main phase 1. We're playing against Live Twin. Live Twin's not a bad deck at all, so this is gonna be interesting. We drop Maxx. Also, there's one thing I will note. I think there's a thing that says like a percentage, like it's like up here. It says like a percentage or something. That's new. I've never seen that before. I think it's super sweet. Look, usage rate. That's sick. I like that. Anyways, we draw Infinite Impermanence from the top of our deck from the Maxx. We negate that Runic card. Very, very important here because if that went through, he would have got the field spell, and the field spell just essentially says, "Hey, I have a bunch of spells in my graveyard. How about I put them all back in my deck and draw a bunch of cards?" I don't like that, so we're not going to do that. They're going into their Evil Twin combo, which essentially says like, hey, if you control an Evil Twin, you can special summon an Evil Twin, and then you can like either draw a card or destroy a card. Pretty strong, and they're going to end on Evil Twin Trouble Sunny. Very powerful stuff. But they took the Maxx challenge and they gave us a bunch of cards. Dragon Links though don't really need a bunch of cards, so yeah, we're going to see what we can do. They're going to activate Maxx, and I'm like, huh, well, I didn't draw Ash Blossom, I didn't draw Call by the Grave, so I guess we're taking the Maxx challenge. Special summon a rocket from our deck. They're going to tribute that monster and they're going to try to do a thing. I'm going to activate, you know what, sure, give me more cards. Maxx, you know, Maxx on my turn, by the way. Draw 1 card from this. And also they're going to get a pop and they're going to get a draw, I believe. And I'm like, huh, well, that kind of sucks. Rokket Tracer, target itself. We're going to special summon a rocket from our deck. And the effect's going to trigger. Rocket's going to do that. And we drew a card. I don't know what we drew. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. And they're going to draw a card also. We're going to activate Chaos Space. Chaos Space, we're going to pitch the Rokket Tracer in our hand. And we're going to add Bystial Lubellion. Lubellion's going to add us Baldrake. And then we're going to activate Druiswurm. We're going to banish their Trouble Sunny from the graveyard, special summon that dude. Then we're going to send him to the graveyard, special summon the Bystial Lubellion. This guy, the Druiswurm, is going to send a special summon monster they control. They're going to attempt to activate that effect where it essentially says like, hey, I don't have this monster on the field, so I'm going to special summon it back to the field. And we're going to go like, okay, well, I'm just going to chain my Bystial in my hand. I'm going to banish that monster in your graveyard. And yeah, not going to work anymore. Then we're going to activate Bystial Lubellion, and then we're going to set the trap. He's going to activate Nibiru. By the way, Maxx, so we're still drawing. And I'm like, okay. Well, I mean, we did take the Maxx challenge. I should have expected Nibiru. We're going to play through it. We're going to keep activating our Bystials. I think we actually got our Bystial dude from... oh, that's right. We got it from Rokket Synchron. We're going to use Magnamhut, banish a monster in the graveyard. And then we're going to activate Branded Regain. We're going to shuffle back their monster back to the extra deck. Not really sure why I did that. I think it was a mistake. And we're going to draw a card. Next, we're going to go into Dark Dimensional Soldier. Banish a monster in our hand. Special summon the one that's banished. They're going to activate Ash Blossom. Ooh, but that's on the Wyverburster Buster. Don't really care about that too much. But I'm still like, you know what? I care enough. Called by the Grave. Banish, negate. Okay, moving on. Okay, let's see. So we add our Black Dragon Collapserpent, and we're going to do this guy. We're going to banish one of the Starlieges. We're going to special summon Rokket Tracer. It's a tuner, by the way. Really, really nice. Chaos Space. Banish it. We're going to shuffle back the White Dragon Wyverburster back into our deck. We're going to draw Chaos Space, and we're going to synchro off into Chaos Ruler. 17 cards left in the deck. I know you guys can't see it, but 17 cards left in the deck. We are going to mill. Let me move it real quick just so I can show this off real quick. So look at this. 16 cards now. We have 12 cards in our graveyard. We're going to mill Harpy's Feather Duster, Quick Launch, Branded Beast, Maxx, Quick Launch. Woo! We got unlucky. We didn't hit a single card, so that kind of sucks, but it's going to be okay. We're going to go into Dharc the Dark Charmer. Wow! Look at that guy. We're going to special summon a Dharc from his graveyard. Boom! Now on my side of the field. And we're going to link off into Borreload Dragon. Borreload can steal opponent's monsters, if you remember. I don't really care, though. Branded Beast, trap cards, get to pop one of our cards. We're going to pop his monster. And now I'm just like, okay, well, I just need to go for game now. You gotta activate Infinite Impermanence. That doesn't do anything. But okay. Special summon Chaos Ruler back from the graveyard. And what is that? That's like 8,500 damage, right? Attack once. No gores. Attack again. No Battle Fader. And he surrendered. Yep. Let's go to the next replay. This is going to be the last final replay, and our opening hand is Chaos Space, Bystial Lubellion, White Dragon, Chaos Space, and Infinite Impermanence. And we're going second. Ooh, the only thing we can really do is Infinite Impermanence. They're playing Blue Eyes. Okay, so they're going to special summon Abyss Dragon. I'm going to negate that because Abyss Dragon essentially says, hey, when I'm special summon, I get to add one card. Also, during the end phase, I get to add another card. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want you adding 2 cards. We're just going to stop that, negate both the effects. Now it's our turn. This card, Maiden with the Blue Eyes, essentially has the effect, if it's targeted by a card effect, special summon a Blue Eyes. If it's targeted for an attack, negate the attack, special summon a Blue Eyes. And they dropped the Maxx. Okay, well, now we're playing the Maxx challenge. The only thing I'm hoping they don't draw right now is Jet Dragon, because Jet Dragon can just ruin our day. Branded Regained is pretty good right here. We're going to be able to put the Blue Eyes back in the bottom of their deck, draw a card. And Magnamhut, during the end phase, we're going to be able to add a Dragon. Next up, we're going to activate Quick Launch. Oh, I love this card. And then now that we got Quick Launch down, we're going to activate Chaos Space. We're going to discard the White Dragon Buster. Rokket Tracer's get a chain because it's a quick effect. And we're going to destroy Chaos Space. Destroying a spell card does not mean negating. So Chaos Space is still going to go through. We're still going to get the effect. And Rokket Tracer's effect is going to go through as well. We're going to go into Chaos Ruler. Let me show over here real quick. Alright, let's look at the deck. We got Called by the Grave, Quick Launch. We got, White Dragon Buster. Okay, Ash Blossom and Rokket Synchron. I think I want the Rokket Synchron here. So we're going to grab that and we're going to send everything else back to the graveyard. We're going to go for Bystial Lubellion by tributing our Chaos Ruler. Bystial Lubellion's going to set the trap because it's just a removal. Rokket Synchron's going to special summon back our Chaos Ruler. Amazing card. And now we're going to just special summon Black Dragon Collapserpent. Activate Chaos Space in our graveyard, which essentially says, hey, that banished card, put it back in your deck, draw a card. We've been drawing a lot of cards this game. We're going to activate Branded Beast, which essentially says, tribute a dragon, destroy a card your opponent controls. We're going to destroy his Abyss Dragon. And then we're going to go into Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. Omni negate, if our opponent does something we don't like, negate its effects. We're going to banish a light and a dark from our graveyard, special summon Chaos Ruler back. And this is where I said, like, I wish I had a rank 8, because we could have went into a rank 8 here and didn't have... I didn't even know you could do this. Maiden with the Eyes of Blue, Ash Blossom. I Ash Blossom negated it. I didn't know you could do that at all. I'm going to be quite honest. Attack over. Attack again. No Jet Dragon. If there was a Jet Dragon, it would have been a little bit of a different story. But regardless, that's game. I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you want to see more content I make. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to be making it for a while to come. And as always, I hope you have a great day or night. And maybe I'll catch you later. See ya!